It seems this time the purge was even harsher than the last. I was on the brink of death. I was kicked out of every possible shelter, and there were thousands of unfortunate sinners like me. I don't know how, but I managed to escape. I ran so fast, for a second I felt like I was flying. Probably the adrenaline. Although, does it work the same way as in life? I don't know. Anyway, I came across this strange house on the hill. There wasn't a single angel around the hill, which was almost eerie, but I also had no choice. For some reason, as soon as I got closer, my smartphone stopped the recording video. I could only take photos, although even that was sometimes problematic.
That makes two of us.
This cat was weird and kind of familiar, as if I saw him long ago, so I tried to take a photo of him, yet it comes out blurry. He wasn't very happy about, so I didn't try again. I got almost scared he would throw me out here, my last chance to stay alive, but then she appeared. Biblically Accurate Charlie, or its official title, Hell Hotel, continues to blow us away with its unsettling take on the original series. This time, it gives us the perspective of a sinner on the day of the extermination. After being hunted by an angel and narrowly escaping, he stumbles upon Charlie's Hazbin Hotel. It sits on a hill that angels don't dare approach, a curious detail that is actually hinted at subtly in the original series, where no angel dares to get close to the Princess of Hell's domain during the Purge, out of fear of triggering the wrath of her father, Lucifer Morningstar. Once inside the hotel, the sinner encounters Husk, who maintains his trademark apathetic and impatient attitude toward the new resident. This is where the AU starts making it clear that, despite being a place for redemption, the atmosphere is anything but welcoming. In fact, it's arguably more unsettling than the dangerous streets of hell. If we look at it through a more realistic lens, the colorful, animated Hazbin Hotel we all know wouldn't feel so happy-go-lucky to the average sinner. This explains why not many people dare to check in. It's an eerie place inhabited by beings as dangerous as the radial demon himself, Alastor, a topic we'll dive into a bit later. While the creator, Alina, is capable of giving us nightmares with her designs, she occasionally leans more toward parody. In her latest video, we see Vox asking Velvet to just speak, but things take a strange turn. Velvet doesn't seem to have a mouth. There's just a sort of signal or interference. Vox then pulls out a device and turns down Velvet's volume. This could be a reference to real-world talking dolls that have built-in recorders for preset phrases. Since Velvet's sinner form has a detachable doll body, it's possible that the recorder Vox is holding is actually her voice box. It's a small, curious detail, but an interesting one nonetheless. Aside from that, there isn't much else to note in this particular clip. Next up, we finally get a look at Zestial's design. Much like with Husk, the creator of this AU seems to have a habit of making certain male characters, likely her favorites, quite attractive. We can see that he keeps most of his original attire, but with that signature touch that defines this alternate universe. It's interesting to see the connection between him and Carmilla. It almost feels like there's something deeper there. However, since they aren't canonically a couple, it seems this AU might be pushing their relationship in a more romantic direction. There are even moments that seem to imply Zestial is having some rather intimate thoughts. This new version of Zestial stands out mainly because he's missing his iconic hat, which has been replaced by a golden tiara with a red gem in the center, and of course his long, silky hair. This change seems to be a purely aesthetic choice by the creator, as there doesn't seem to be a lore reason behind it. What does remain, however, is his spider-like traits, specifically how his eyes and mouth seem to emit their own light, which is very much in line with the original show. That said, the spider emblem on his neck was made much smaller and less noticeable. Personally, I think that emblem is an iconic part of the original Zestial and should have been kept or at least highlighted a bit more in this AU. We are back to a long-form video that seems to be a direct sequel to the first one we discussed. Once again, we step into the shoes of the sinner who entered the Hazbin Hotel. After meeting Charlie face to face, she welcomes him with open arms, classic Charlie, and even takes a selfie with him to commemorate her new friend's first day of redemption. Unfortunately, unlike Charlie, the sinner doesn't look too happy about the situation. He only ended there because he had no other choice. We can see that Charlie retains much of her bubbly, charismatic personality as she explains the concept of redemption to him. The sinner doesn't really care though. He's stuck there whether he likes it or not. It was either stay at the hotel or face the extermination raging outside. While in his room, a dark figure appears, calmly observing him, Alastor. The reason for this is a total mystery, as this kind of behavior isn't really typical for the radio demon. It seems that in this AU, Alastor gives in more to his predatory instincts, stalking his prey from the shadows. The sinner dismisses it as a dream and gets up to clear his head, but then in the hallway, he sees a similar figure pass right in front of him. At first, you'd think it's Alastor stalking him again, but if you look closely, it might actually be angel dust. This would make sense given the way the figure moves, crawling like a spider. Though in this grim and macabre place, there's no shortage of terrifying creatures. We also hear the sinner's internal monologue about how he feels being in hell. This is fascinating because while the original series is about a hotel built to help sinners, the background sinners themselves are rarely the focus. We hardly ever hear them speak more than a few lines, let alone get a glimpse into their deepest thoughts. This AU manages to flesh out that small but significant perspective that the original show often overlooks. By the end of it all, it makes total sense that the sinner is more terrified of being inside the hotel than outside of it. He makes it clear in his final comment, he needs to find the way out. The artwork here is gorgeous, but the context is heavy. We see Sera making excuses for why she carried out the genocide. We know she is directly responsible for the existence of the exorcists in hell. Many people argue that Sera didn't technically sin because her duty was to protect heaven, and it wasn't her fault that Lilith wanted hell to rise up. But there's one key point that answers all of this. The genocide Sera committed is still a sin. The fact that it was justified doesn't absolve her of the guilt. If you think about it, even characters like Serpentius reflect this. In many ways, he was just a bystander, likely acting out of fear or a refusal to face reality, and he still ended up in hell. So it makes perfect sense for the Speaker of God to force Sera to face the fact that she carries the weight of her own sins as well. We've seen Sera's design before, divine features mixed with bird-like traits and plenty of feathers. Those details are emphasized even more here, with a large mane surrounding her head and what appear to be multiple intensely glowing eyes. I do want to make one correction. In the first biblically accurate Charlie video, I mistakenly referred to Sera and the Speaker of God as the same entity. That was a mix-up on my part that I should have double-checked, and I apologize if I caused any confusion.
Can you get the dog, please? I know how to get there. Can you get the car, please? I know how to get there. Can you get Troy? I know how to. Can you get Troy? I know how to. Can you get Troy?
This last one seems to be another video parodying or referencing an audio clip I'm not familiar with, but even so, the situation is something that could easily happen in the original series. First, we see Angel Dust asking Valentino if he can have a dog, then if he can have new clothes, and finally if he can skip his recording session for the day. Just this once. That's when things get dark. The red letters on the white floor spell out payment, implying that Val did something truly horrific to Angel. While nothing is shown directly, you can hear the faint whimpering of a puppy. It's highly likely that Valentino brutally killed the dog Angel asked for, just to make a point. Even though he can indulge Angel's whims, Angel must never forget that he is property. If he starts getting too demanding, there will be consequences. This kind of extreme retaliation fits Valentino's aggressive and explosive personality perfectly. It's his way of showing he has total control over their lives. As long as they behave and obey his every command, things can stay relatively calm, at least until they outlive their usefulness to him. This is the last video from the Hell Hotel AU for now, and it might be the last one we cover in this series on the channel. The original artist, Alina, has started her own YouTube channel where she'll be uploading all these videos, and of course new content for this Hazbin Hotel alternate universe. To make sure she gets the credit and visibility she deserves, if you enjoy her work, please go support her directly on her channel. Link in the description. That way she can keep showing us more of these incredible character designs. Of course, if you want to support the creator but also want to keep seeing my deep dives and analyses of her work, let me know in the comments. If there's enough interest, I'll bring you a part 4. Provided Alina's okay with it, and you guys don't feel like we're overstaying our welcome. Until then, we'll keep analyzing the most interesting AUs and series that let our imaginations run wild.